Shalom, Yasha Allah. First and foremost, I'd like to give all glory, honor, and infinite praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chachadash. Double honors to beloved elders and the apostles at Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to all you hopeful Laktakim out there laboring that are pushing this word in truth and in sincerity. This is your brother Amar from the GMS Boise, Idaho camp, and I'm coming at you with this lesson, based on this picture, in the new Black Panther party that is arising. Before I get into this lesson, I'm going to start out with a scripture. This is Romans 8:5. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. Because we can see that at the forefront of the Black Panthers, they're all about force, carnally minded, using Esau's laws to defend themselves against Esau, by carnal means only, not through the Spirit and power, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. They're through the carnal means of whatever, weak ass weapons they got. Continuing, next verse 6. For to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. So for one, first and foremost, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which make up and consist of the 12 tribes of Israel, you have a right to be angry about the situation that we're in, but you do not have the right to move outside of prophecy, to try to speed up the kingdom in some way, shape, or form by actively going against the powers that be on a physical level, using the sword. We condemn anybody that tries to move against, the government by way of means, by getting a bunch of, so-called weapons together, which is low-level technology that you would have to use to go against, this government that we just heard about using, high-level frequency weapons, man. You think you're going to go against them with your fucking weak-ass guns, man, So I wanted to talk about this picture, that really caught my attention because, how Esau sees you, Jake, they get guns and stuff like that. He looks at you like a fucking joke, man, because you, Jake, man, y'all don't know really how to use weapons like Esau does, and you don't know how to use the tools properly. You just fucking cosplay, And this picture does a really good job to explain that here. And I'm going to go into a, quick example because, you damn fucking Black Panther Party Israelites wannabes fucking are a joke, man. And anybody that wants to participate in something like this, man, you're just setting yourself up to be a victim, man, because Esau is going to roll on you. And think that you're going to get together by marching with some guns in the street. Let's break down this picture. This is what normies see, and normies is a code for, normal people. Oh no, armed Black Panthers, because as you can see this picture, they got vests on and shit like this, right? Well, let's look at a closer look. What I see, a bunch of fucking clowns, man. So I'm going to zoom in on this picture. It says no plates. No plates means it has no bulletproof plates in it, and that's how you can see the plate, the vest wrapping around their body. No mag pouches, if they're really out there looking for a fucking fight, they're not carrying any ammo with them. This is a fingerless gloves. You're not able to protect your whole, hand. This is a true glow optic, which is like low level fucking weapon stuff. This is a shitty beret form, and then dust cover open, which is on an M4 or AR platform. If you have your dust cover open and you're in the field moving around, then there's more likely that you're going to get something in your chamber that can cause your weapon to malfunction or get jammed. And you got these dummies out there thinking that they're going to go to war with trained professionals. This is, again, no plates, empty vests, no mag pouches, no reloads. This is an MP15. This is a 22 long rifle. A 22 LR is like, might as well be a little BB gun. It just looks mean in this picture. Rear sight folded, which means the rear sight is what you use to line up your barrel, and they have it down. And then it has no optic, So this is how Esau looks at you, man. He looks at you as easy targets. Nothing but you fucking putting on some things that you got from an online Amazon store, thinking you walking around tough, man. You Jake are gonna be fucking slaughtered if you try to go against Esau with the sword, in the sense of you're gonna get together and form a presence that's gonna go against him. You Jake are so far gone if you think that's how you're gonna fight against this man. So I'm gonna play a couple seconds of this video. I'm not going to play the whole thing, and then I'm going to close it out with the scriptures that we have gotten that I got compared to the men that are going to be taking Esau down spiritually, and men that are going to be taking down Esau so-called in their mind physically, which is not going to happen. This is just another picture circulating online. This is breaking. The Black Panther says it's now organizing and training in Minneapolis to confront ICE as enforcement operations ramp up. Tensions are rising fast, and federal authorities are signaling they're not backing down. And this is just, those Jakes are going to get caught up in the crossfire. You thinking that you're going to be able to go in and, and the Black Panthers have been infiltrated. They've been already taken care of. Anybody that joins this organization now is just setting themselves on an organization that's already been sold out. So what are you going to do? You're just going to be set up to do whatever psyop or to be the people that get blamed by Esau to roll on you again, man. So again, I'm going to play this little video, and then I'm going to get the scriptures, and I'm going to close out.
Safe line repair. I guarantee you they won't. I'll put a hole in their chest the size of a window. Safe line repair, safe line replace. That's what's going to happen. They touch me. Unarmed woman was killed by ICE. If you think you're about to come and brutalize the people while we're standing here, fuck around and find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. Wow. We patrol the community and we hold them accountable. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, we're the same Panther Party from back in the day, but we're a little more aggressive now, you dig? Carry bigger guns and we don't take no shit. Places where there are a lot of immigrants at, I think that the community around them needs to take special care to them, and it needs to start escorting them to and from everywhere to make sure that they're safe. Because them ICE agents ain't going to act like that if it's a bunch of people standing outside with assault rifles and shotguns. It's a semi-automatic shotgun. That means them shotgun shells that shoot out of a pump, they shoot them rapidly. If you are going to legally arm yourself with something bigger than what they got.
By the way, that gun he's got only holds about 5 to 6 bullets, man. Just because the bullet itself is bigger doesn't mean it's bigger than what they got, man. This is this stupid ass Jake, man. So I just wanted to show those scriptures to give you the context of the lesson that I want to bring out of it, which is obviously the Hebrew Israelites don't move like that. There are certain groups that advocate that type of movement, and that group, Sakari, has been dismantled, because it's nothing but a psyop that Esau can use against the people if he sees a bunch of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans with guns, actively talking, how we talk. It's just something that Esau can use to roll on the ministry, and that's what this is going to be. Even though this is coming from the Black Panthers, watch how the so-called Jake Hebrew Israelites get involved, because you have some other fucking groups out there in the Hebrew Israelite community that would support something like this. They're not in the truth, but they do it. They fighting against the so-called white man. No, man, there's a certain way that you're supposed to do it. And that type of mentality, you're going to get a lot of Israelites killed, by setting them up to go against someone that's blessed with the sword. And we have had times where it's been necessary in the history of the Israelites to use the sword, but we know for the salvation of the nation of Israel is not going to come through the sword. It's going to come through Yahushai. So that's what people are betting on. They're getting impatient. They're trying to do things and take things into their own hands. And this is the type of outcomes that you get: sloppy fucking things that would fall apart in a little, by the littlest of inconvenience, by the way of, something happening in an organization that would cause it to just completely fall apart. You're not going to get that type of falling out in the ministry of Yahushai, for the true believers and the true followers, and there's nothing that you can do to stop the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, because it's not by men. This is an example of an organization that is started by men that is going to soon crumble. This is Acts 5:34. And what I say, that is an example of that Black Panther Party videos, and other groups that are, building their ministry and congregation, based on anything that's outside of the prophetic scriptures. This is Acts 5:34. Then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, had in reputation among all the people, and commanded to put the apostles forth a little space. And this was a Pharisee, that stood up to defend the apostles, when they were about to get persecuted by the other Pharisees. Acts 5:35. So not all the Pharisees were bad. Pharisee just means doctor of the law. Verse 35, and said unto them, ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves what ye intend to do as touching these men. Verse 36, for before these days rose up Theudius, and he's about to go into examples of things that have happened of men trying to do things on their own, to go against what they have ordained, which is the law, statute, and commandments. Verse 36, but also go against, the captivity that they're in under the Romans. Acts 5:36, for before these days rose up Theudius, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who was slain, and all as many as obeyed him were scattered and brought to naught. So all those men, 400 of them, got scattered or brought to naught, because Jake has always been looking for a hero. Jake is always looking for a knight in shining armor. That's just our spirit, but you got to know who to follow, and it brought these men obviously to their doom. Verse 37, after this man rose up Judas of Galilee in the days of the taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also perished, and even as many as obeyed him were dispersed. Dispersed means scattered. So hey man, all these men that tried doing the things themselves, ultimately came to naught. Acts 5:38, and now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. Whoo, man, point blank, period. If this is of men, it'll come to naught. But what have you seen the ministry of Great Millstone, started by the elders and apostles of Great Millstone? The ministry has only flourished. Members only have been added daily, man, growing. Believers, I should say, added daily, growing. Verse 39, but if it be of the Most High Yahweh, ye cannot overthrow it, lest happily ye be found even to fight against Yahweh. Whew, man. So at the end of the day, the example was that if this is something that is really carnal and not spiritual, then it's going to go away, and then we'll continue living our lives. This is what Gamaliel was saying to the Pharisees. He said, but if this is of the Most High, then you're fighting against the Most High himself by, being too hasty in attacking these men. So it's a very beautiful example, of wisdom, when you can see that there's been many examples and known examples of men trying to do it the carnal way. I know I'm thinking of the one scripture, rushed and slew there's this Jake, man, that I'm thinking of, that tried going into and kill a lion because he wanted to make a name for himself, and that he ended up having the beast fall on him. Yeah, here it is. Slack, I shouldn't be laughing. Yeah. So this is there's many there's a few Eleazars in the scriptures, but this is one is this scriptures that I'm gonna bring. I want to bring you because this man wanted to move carnally to make a name for himself, and we're gonna see how it turned out for him. This is just one more example in the scriptures of men moving hastily. Be not hasty. And so I'm going to read these scriptures because it's going to show you what happened to this man trying to make a name for himself. This is 1 Maccabees 6:43. Eleazar, also surnamed Savarin,